So I saw a video. It was by Troyo17, which I know that's a weird name, but he's really good at making, like commentary videos and stuff. He mostly talks about superheroes and comic books and movies and stuff like that, and he's just a fellow nerd who also talked about today's topic, and I just want to say that this video takes inspiration from him. Please go watch his video, it'll be linked in the description, and I really liked it. So let's get in. Comics. I really do love them. Huh? What was that? I'm a piece of shit, no good human garbage can because I like comics and not manga? Well, I read manga, so look, this has been a debate that's been going on for a long ass time, and I've seen so many people talk about manga like it's the fucking God's hand. Get it, Berserk ref? Then those same people will turn around and say comics are garbage. But why? Those two are similar, and it's honestly baffling why so many people only read one or the other. As somebody who was a child when he first saw Spider-Man, just in general, I immediately fell in love with the concept of superheroes. The idea of people with special powers flying, swinging, grappling, or sometimes jumping really far around a sprawling city filled my tiny little brain with absolute joy. I mean, it was amazing as a kid. But at that time, I had no idea what manga or anime was for obvious reasons. I was 6, so I was immediately biased towards it when I got older and was introduced to the concept. Yes, I too hated anime. I was a part of this argument. I fucking still hate that I didn't give it a chance, or like a real chance, to be completely honest. I had read some manga. But even though I had read it, I just thought it was a stupid form of media, and I never thought about reading it very much other than like the one chapter of Full Metal Alchemist that I did in like 6th grade. But one day last year, I finally picked a manga up. And yes, it was Chainsaw Man, and yes, I know it's basic, but I don't fucking care. Chainsaw Man is amazing, and I stand by that. But Chainsaw Man was the first manga that I'd read all the way through, and I actually still keep up with it and read the new chapters as they come out. But after reading the entirety of Chainsaw Man, I realized something. Manga and comics aren't that different. A lot of them have superpowered or special main characters that run around a city slash world to save the day. So why did I hate manga but not comics? Well, it was just plain bias, to be completely honest. Even though I love Chainsaw Man, I would have never even thought about reading it even 3 years ago. I'd watched some anime before, but not anything too long and never in subbed, and I had no reason to hate manga, but I did. After all that, I'm still here though, your friendly neighborhood weeb. Bias plays a huge role in the media we consume or like to consume, and it's hard to get away from that bias, especially when I was a kid. It was super hard to get away from that because I liked superheroes and that's what I liked. Manga seems like such a foreign concept, and I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole because I thought it was weird because it wasn't something I was used to and I had a bias towards it. A negative bias that I shouldn't have held, and you shouldn't either because it's kind of stupid because manga and comics are really, really similar. And after all that, I'm reading Berserk now. Oh god. The main complaint that I see all the time about comics is that they're hard to get into. But that's not really true. You don't have to read all 1,000 issues of Spider-Man to understand the character on a fundamental level. I mean, I haven't read anywhere near a fourth of that, and I still do get Spider-Man. It's pretty easy to. Reading comics isn't always about starting from the beginning, that's more of a manga thing. There are places to start, hence the fuck ton of Batman number ones there are. So where do you start? Well, pretty much wherever you want, at the beginning of a certain run. Recently, I've been reading Uncanny X-Force, and it's really good, but I haven't read a whole lot of X-Men or X-Force comics for that matter. I still do understand the characters, what's going on in the story, and the background that's necessary for the plot because they explain it in the comic. Now, they don't do it in a way that feels like they're spoon feeding you, they just do it because it relates to what's happening, so you kind of understand, oh yeah, that's what happened, so it relates to what's going on right now. Like, I had no fucking idea who Phantom X was before I went into this comic, and now I love the guy. He's such a deep and interesting character with complex motivations and a super cool backstory. He's so fucking cool, and he's also a little shit, and I love him. You know who else is like that? Guts, Aki, half of the JoJo's, and way too many more. I mean, there's seriously a lot of anime and manga characters that are really deep like that. Both mediums have their good characters that are easy to get into. It's not like they're just gatekeeping everything, alright? You guys can read both, I swear to fucking God. Even though, like, all manga have a definitive starting point that you begin at and then you end at wherever they are right now, that doesn't mean that you can just write off comics because they don't do that. I mean, they do. The definitive starting point for Batman was Batman #1 in the 1930s, but that's like way too long ago to start reading from, and I don't know anyone who's ever read from Batman #1 to now. So, I mean, I have read Batman #1. It's actually not that bad for a 30s comic. At the end of the day, comics have this stipulation that they're hard to get into when they're not really, because, well, they're just as easy to get into as manga. They just don't have like a specific starting point that you need to start at. I mean, just look up a fucking guide online. What do you think Google is for, bro? This part's going to be a short one, but I still want to talk about it. I just don't have a whole lot to say about it because it seems like common sense, but still, there are stupid people. The main reason why I hate this debate is because both sides usually think that the other is a worse way to enjoy stories. That's not true at all. Both sides have amazing characters, famous stories, and beautiful artwork, and neither is inferior to the other. But a lot of people tend to think that it's just bad because it's not something they're used to, which is where the bias comes in this part. I mean, when you have famous manga like Bobo Bobo Bo Bobo 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 on your side, how could you be bad? And yet, so many people have this back and forth on which is better. Neither are better than the other. Either side is a great way to tell stories. I mean, it's stupid if you don't think it is, and no matter what you may personally believe, so many people across the world enjoy manga and or comics. I mean, I enjoy the hell out of both, so I'm not even in this argument anymore. I just like both. At the end of the day, it is up to the individual's opinion on what they like and what they don't like. I can't make you like comics or make you like manga, but I still think you should like both. And as someone who is on the comic side of this argument for years without ever sitting down to read a manga fully, it really infuriates me when other people make the same mistake I did. Because now I really love manga. I've read so much of it, okay? All the characters and the stories and everything, how it comes together is just so great and beautiful sometimes. I mean, the biggest difference between the two is just which direction you read them. Wow, such a garbage move to read right to left. Like, that sounds stupid, right? Because it is. I mean, I learned how to look at the panels right to left. You still get to read the bubbles left to right, you just have to look at them from right to left. Anyways, this was just me talking for like 8 minutes about my thoughts on the matter. I know it's useless because I'm just a small little YouTube guy, but I still wanted to talk about it because I love both of these things and I think it's stupid when people write it off immediately. Thanks again to TroyO'Boyle17 for giving me this idea. Remember to go check him out. And I'd also like to thank the Giga Chads before we leave. I mean, seriously, you all are beautiful creatures. Please stay subscribed. Please don't unsubscribe. Please, 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 Jesus Christ. And that'll be all for today. Let's roll the outro.